All right, so one of the last repairs I gotta do on this frame, and that's the shock mount here. Now, that's a pretty bad little repair, but I tell you what, when there's an inner fender sitting here and there's all this stuff, you know, cab sitting here, it makes a pretty tough repair. Now the tough part is gonna be cleaning that up. I can get most of it with a grinder, I think. And then I'll use my do-more and get it. And I think what I'll do is repair it with a solid chunk of metal. Maybe I'll use my hole saw and drill out a piece of 3/16 or something. And repair it that way. How does the other side look? The other side looks pretty good. That side is pretty bad. That's okay. We can make that work. So I'm going to use an old grinding disc here, and that should get in for the most part. That's why you keep some of these old ones around. So we got to figure out what size of a circle is going to work in here. I think a 1" would be perfect. So we got to reduce that down from 1" to 5/8. Now I'm using a 1¼ hole saw here because I want the inner, not the outer hole. So it's going to give me something that's going to be a little bit bigger. Let's get rid of some of this. It's going to be a little bit bigger than 1", but that's what grinders are for. Happened to my drill bit. It's not good. Back in a sec. Okay, I got my magic patch. It's all set up. Now, when you use a hole saw, you kind of get this tiny little lip on the back side. Kind of looks like a railroad wheel, train wheel, and that's going to work out good because the back over here is nice and original. So what I'm going to do is just hold it there. Now, when it goes in there, I took a measurement and it's the same as it is on that side. So now all I'm going to do right now is just put a little bit of a bevel on here so I can get a nice weld going on. And we'll weld her in. Simple. Well, another nice thing about the method I'm going with here, Already got a pilot hole. Just gotta make sure that this lip here is not sticking out too far. Just gonna do a little grinding on the back here. Right back. Well, that's the finished product, and man, I tell you, I'm happy. Took me a little while to figure out how I was going to do it, but yeah, now it's locked in my brain. So the next one I encounter, I know how to do it. Well, I finished the frame up, got it ready for sandblasting, but now it's raining. So we have to switch gears and move on to another aspect of the build. And I think that's going to be the fuel tank. We're going to put a fuel tank in the back. So, we'll watch that next. I'll probably throw that in as another video. Because that's going to take up a lot of time. And, well, it's not going to take up a lot of time. But it's a pretty cool fuel tank. Yeah, everything looks good. Like, there were a lot of little things that we had to do here. You know, little fixes here. Weld up some holes here, weld up some holes here, fix some rust over there. And you know, you start doing all these little things and a lot of time adds up. This was time I wasn't really expecting or hoping for, but those things happen. Same thing's going to happen when I get going on my frame too. You know, these frames are pretty old and they've done a lot of work. But everything we've done on this has been really minor, so it's going to look really, really good. Can't wait to get some paint on it. All right, you're going to see me here in a couple seconds when I get back to it. When I, oh yeah, now it's turned to snow. And it's starting to collect. Oh well, what can you do? All right, catch you in a minute. Okay, we're ready for sandblast. On all these little spots and the spots that I missed. And bit of a cold day, we got some snow, but I got it all cleared up, kind of good. Now I mounted the fuel tank. Not going to show you that in this video because that's just too much overload for you. And this is just an absolute beautiful fuel tank. That episode coming up. I want to finish the episode first. I want to, you know, I want to mount it completely after it's been painted. And show you what it looks like. Anyway, gonna head outside, get this finished up with the sandblasting, and then we can get some body filler on there. Haul this out of here first. Back to the shed. bodywork. Is that an air bubble? Yep. Thought it was a cootie. I got yesterday, I got the everything I needed to get blasted, and now it's time to just smooth out what we were doing, make it look all pretty. The best part of the whole job, right here. So this isn't going to take very much to get this all nice and smooth and flat, but you know, you see it. Of course, this is an option. You don't have to go this far, but I definitely do. Now, there are some builders out there that'll skim this whole frame, but as soon as you do that, you change your vehicle into Trader Queen, and no longer, you know, do you ever want to drive it. Just don't know why you want to do that. I think you know, you put some money into a hot rod, you should just get out there and use it. Don't use this as an excuse to cover up all your crappy welds either. Make sure you get everything right first before you start doing this. I know most of you out there probably won't even do this, but this is the fun part. And I'll turn the rotisserie around to do the bottom. Where did I even weld? Right here. I got a little bit of a spot I don't like. I'll hit that with the dew more before I put some filler on there. That'll get done when we flip the frame here. Now I was doing some hammering over here, so we'll make sure that this is all smoothed out. Now we're not going to go fancy with the, we'll probably do a little blocking, but I'll hit this with the 40 grit on the palm center, or on the 6-inch. Alright, going to the other side. I'll come back in a minute. I always give everything a little bit of a light file, because that will tell me if I got a low spot, and then I can just put some more filler on there because I'm going to use the orbital on it. Well, it looks pretty good. I didn't put very much on, so I think it's going to be good. Yeah. Nice. Now I just block it with some 80 grit, and we're ready for some primer. If you finish with a block, it's just going to give you that little extra nice straight look that you're looking for. Okay, now I'm going with a good high build. You could use a spray bomb, but I want some good coverage so I don't have to do this twice. And it's quicker and easier. Only takes a couple minutes. Okay, we're ready to go. That didn't take too long. So, I guess, you know, if I looked at how much time I got about 2 hours in just doing the body work. And, you know, like there's been some holes that we ground up and everything like that. I'm not filling dents or anything like that. You know, grinder marks and, you know, spots where I've repaired. And so that's all done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to shoot it with epoxy. You know, if you follow me, you know that my, the plan is always epoxy and then a urethane. And that's what I'm going to do. The epoxy I use is a Cloverdale, and same as the urethane, semi-gloss black. I use semi-gloss. You know, you can use whatever you want. If you want it the same color as your truck, well, you know, it doesn't cover as good. Automotive paint doesn't cover as good as, you know, a good thick urethane. And if you're going to do that, you might have to do a little bit more priming on the frame rails. But for what we're doing, semi-gloss black. All right. Well, I am so happy the way that this paint turned out. Now, I've said it a few times. You know, you lay down some epoxy and a couple coats of the semi-gloss. This is as good as powder coat. It looks as good, if not better. And the reason I like it better, you can fix it. Right? If you get, like we've got to do some cutting on the back yet, and I've got to paint the front. Not going to do that until I'm ready to go. But this is going outside now because I got all the rest of the other parts to paint. Now, if you're looking, you notice that I have not done any of the boxing yet. Made the decision that, you know what, all I have to do is just do a little grind here and weld it. It would be a lot easier doing that than it would be if I welded it in, had to cut it all out, start over again because the mount for our tranny didn't work. So we'll do that after the fact. And then that way I can, at the same time, I can finish up, you know, the back and all these little, and the front there as well where our rotisserie is mounted, and then I can get everything done. But I'm really, really happy with this. So this can go outside now, and we can get the rest of the stuff all painted. All right, we're working on the parts that need to get sprayed next. And, you know, there's still a little bit of grease. I didn't, you know, work hard around any of these little areas with the sandblaster. I just give it a miss, so I've got to clean everything up. And if there's a little bit of paint, give it a little scuff. Now, what we're going to do here, we just pulled the ball joints out. This is the lower ball joint. I'm going to sandblast that, and then I'm going to touch it up with a little bit of primer. And then we're going to install the lower ball joint. That way, when it's all said and done, painted, we don't have to scratch it up while we're trying to maneuver a ball joint into it. Now some people are going, oh, you won't have to do that, but yeah, you know what? A little bit of tape, it's done. Okay, I got this guy here done. And we just got some, you know, dumb little things that need to get done. You know, there's a couple spots where, you know, there's always a lot of little imperfections that kind of bug me a little bit. So I'm just going to touch them with the grinder. And that's it. Anything that needs a little bit of sandblasting, like we got a little bit of pitting in here. You know, it's as soon as you sandblast it, and if it's sitting around, sometimes it'll, you know, start to flash rust on you. So I'll touch that up again. That's just that's a little hanger there for the U-bolts. Which reminds me, I better go find them. I think they're in the shed. Gotta paint those up too. So anyway, that's my job, just to kind of clean everything up. Screwdriver, some brushes, Varsol. Well, it's actually just cheap paint thinner, I think. What did I do with it? I don't know. Yeah, it's just paint thinner. Alright, one more to do on these little guys. This is kind of fun, you know, you're standing here, you're not really putting much effort into it, and yeah, sometimes it's okay to have one of those days where you just take and scrape a little bit with a screwdriver, scrub a little bit with a brush. That way the mind doesn't run away on you. Pretty hard to overthink this. Now just put a little bit of primer down here, because I want to put the ball joints in before I paint. That way we don't scratch everything up when we start putting it back together. Because that will happen. It's a lot faster taping something up than it is to repaint it. So. Just like that. A little bit more over here. There. That should work. Bit of a setback. You can see I got a split valve. It's for my air compressor. So I gotta change the valve. And lucky we had one kicking around. Probably metric. See if it'll come off. Looks pretty good. Oh. All right. Okay, back to the sandblaster. Next morning, man, everything looks so nice. Now another stage is gonna happen. So all this component stuff here, now the frame is in my brother's shop, so now we're gonna start putting things together. So the next big push on the build will be the differential. It's still sitting outside. Still got some tires on there, and I gotta get them off, and differential sandblasted. We gotta rebuild the differential, and then we can mount that, you know, onto the chassis. So this is a big step. Getting to this point when things are all painted is a lot of work. And you know, a lot of guys just buff up everything and give it a bit of a spray bomb. That's all fine and dandy, but when you're doing a build like this, you know, everything's got to come apart and it's got to look good. That's the main part. This here is cross member for the fuel tank, and I think that's what our move is going to be today, is to mount this fuel tank. Alrighty, well that'll do it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. Still got more stuff to paint, but I think it'll probably be, we'll start working on the differential, and as soon as that's done, then I can bring the cab in. That's when I'm going to be happy. Doing all this stuff, nah, I'm a body man. I want to be on that cab, so I'm going to get there as fast as I can. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay tuned.